Welcome to another episode of Let's See Plants. I'm your host, KD. Today, we have a special guest. We have the owner, Michael, of Beerline Cafe, and the chef, Clarissa, of Beerline Cafe. Welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks
For having us.
Oh, yeah, for sure. So, quick question. So, how many years Beerline Cafe been open, and what inspired you guys to start it?
So, ironically, today, or wait, what's today? The 8th?
I
the
think
ninth.
it's the ninth.
Today's the 9th. Today is our 9th anniversary
Oh, sure.
of being open.
What? I
of
thought it was the
opening.
15th.
No, it's the 9th.
What?
Today's the 9th anniversary of our opening on 9/9/9. Holy cow. So, yeah, 9 years today.
Oh my
Okay.
God.
Yeah.
Man.
Every year I tell you to let me know when it's our anniversary so I can do birthday cake pancakes.
We don't-
Every year we don't do it.
We don't really celebrate our anniversary too much, but maybe on the 10th year, next year on the 9th, we'll have a big celebration or something. But what was the other part of the question?
So, what inspired you to start Beerline Cafe?
So I guess mainly just I wanted to be my own boss, have my own business, was tired of working under people that I didn't respect and didn't think I knew what they were doing. So that was the main impetus for me to plan the cafe and get the loan and find the location and all that. And it was many years planning, but it came to fruition, 9 years ago today. So, and we're still going strong. So.
Okay, so Beerline Cafe always been a vegetarian, vegan spot. So you said 9 years. That was about like
2015, September 9th, 2015 was when we opened.
So was it hard to get, customers? Because during that time, vegan wasn't really popular. Yep. So was that hard to get people to come in?
Difficult for sure. The first year, I thought we might go under at any moment. Like it was very sketchy for the first year, just because we were so new, vegetarian, vegan, in that part of River West that's a little bit more unknown, and it took us a while to build up our customer base and to get the word out about what we were doing. But the first year was very stressful because we, the business took a while to take off.
So what made you, be consistent? What made you not give up?
I just had to. It was necessity. If we would have gone out of business, I would have lost everything. Basically, I put everything down for this loan to open the place, and my whole previous life savings, and so it wasn't really an option to just quit, unless it was absolutely necessary. And it got close, couple months, during that first year, but then word got out and people just started coming in more, and we started posting more on social media, and word just got out, about our food and what we were doing, and we got enough of a customer base to sustain us until things really started taking off after Clarissa became the head chef and kitchen manager, and then that's when things really started to take off.
So for the listeners that's listening, what's the difference of vegan and vegetarian?
Well, Vegetarian is a little bit more flexible. I think as far as terminology goes, like some people consider themselves vegetarian if they eat fish and eggs and, you know, consume dairy and stuff like that. Vegan is really just abstaining from all types of animal products, whether or not it's in your food or in your lifestyle, like products that aren't tested on animals or contain animal ingredients and things like that. So I think whereas vegetarian is basically more of like directly a food choice, a dietary choice.
Okay.
Vegan is more of like an actual lifestyle. I have met, you know, people who say like I eat vegan, you know, just pertaining to more of like their actual diet, and they don't really consider, you know, the products they buy, which is, you know, that's their purview, that's their preference. But, you know, I think just as far as the restaurant goes, yeah, it's either it maybe contains like eggs or cheese or something, or like doesn't contain any animal product whatsoever.
So you're vegan and you're vegetarian. So let's start with you first. So how long you been vegetarian?
Well, not to age myself too much, but I've been a vegetarian my whole adult life, which is now at this point 30 plus years I've been vegetarian.
So what made you stop eating red meat?
Um, Actually, it was, I mean, something I'd always contemplated, but then I was a philosophy major at UWM and read some books that really got me thinking about, you know, animals and humans and how we interact, and that was the tipping point for me to go just full, like, you know, vegetarian. I still, you know, ate cheese and eggs and stuff like that, but cut out meat, all the meat, fish, poultry, red meat. It was really just, it was more of an animal rights issue for me than anything. Like, I love animals, and I truly believe that they are sentient, feeling beings that shouldn't be, that we don't have the right to exploit in that way. So that's what sort of put me over the edge to do that.
Okay. So how long you been vegan?
So I've been vegan specifically for 12 years.
Okay. So what made you, you know, why you stopped eating meat and stuff?
It's been kind of a journey. So I started off being vegetarian in high school, and just kind of, I was vegetarian for a long time, but I grew up in a really like rural town that we were really poor. We didn't have, you know, options as far as like grocery stores. There was no like big grocery store or anything. It was just like mom and pop shops. Everything was really expensive. There wasn't a lot of like, you know, fringe options like vegetarian things. So it kind of made it hard. So I was on and off vegetarian for a while, but I decided to go vegan once I met someone who I was bartending, and they worked on the road, and like as a job, like 9 months out of the year, and they were vegan. And that kind of just opened my eye. Like, 'cause at one point I just sort of gave up being vegetarian because I was like, this is just unsustainable. Like, I don't know if I can do this. But when I met them, they were like, oh yeah, I'm vegan. I'm like on the road like 9 months out of the year. It's like, and I just like, at that point it clicked for me. I was like this is an actual option now. Like, I live in a bigger city. Like, these are things that are available to me. And pretty much immediately I just went, yeah, no, that's what I want to do. So it really just was something I think that I wanted to do deep down my whole life, but didn't really feel like I had the opportunity to do it until I met someone who actually taught me a little bit more about how to do it.
So you being vegan, do you have a hard time getting your nutrients?
So I get asked that a lot, and I know that it sounds kind of weird because people say like, oh, like, I just pay attention to my body. I don't really track. I know there are a lot of people out there who track their like micro and macronutrients and all that stuff. And I don't really do that. I pay attention to what my body is telling me, and I know a lot of the signs of like vitamin deficiencies and things like that. So I'm not necessarily taking into account how much I need per day into what I'm eating, but if my body is telling me something, if I'm extra tired some week, or if I'm, you know, not feeling my best, that, you know, I know kind of what to look out for. I do take daily vitamins. I think that's just important for everybody, even if you're not vegetarian. But I basically kind of adjust my diet based on what I see happening to my own, you know, my own body and what my body needs. So I know that's kind of a blanket statement. It's not maybe helpful to a lot of people out there who don't really know what to look for. I'm not a nutritionist by any means, but I think I think with the current diet that a lot of people consume, we tend to ignore when we feel bad because we think that's just how we normally feel. Like before I went vegan, I didn't realize that I was lactose intolerant. I loved cheese, like so much. And I just didn't really understand why I felt crappy all the time. And I remember going to the doctor because I was always complaining about like what I considered as a kid a sloshy feeling in my stomach. And like no amount of Pepto-Bismol would help me at all. And my mom couldn't figure it out, so she took me to the doctor. And not even the doctors, they were like, yeah, I don't know, she's a kid, she probably just eats crap. And turns out I was lactose intolerant. So, but yeah, I really try to just pay attention to like how my body feels and how it feels after I eat certain things. So I know whether or not I think it's, you know, a good thing for me to eat.
Yeah, because the reason why I ask is I've been vegan for like 4 years, so certain stuff I feel like I'm lacking due to my energy being low, and I think for people who want to switch to being vegan, I think people don't do their not saying you, but I feel like well me I'm gonna use me. I didn't do my full research, like like for us like foods what to eat to get my minerals and stuff like that, because I do feel sluggish sometimes, but yeah, but
Yeah, and I think I mean, that's common for everybody, no matter what kind of diet you have, but definitely for my mom, for example, I make fun of her all the time because she basically only eats two foods, which is like some type of bread in any form and cheese. And she's like, no, I had a quesadilla the other day. And I was like, yeah, that's a tortilla and cheese. It's bread and cheese. She's like, well, the other day then I had cheese curds. And I'm like, that's literally bread and cheese. Like, I don't. She's an anomaly, but.
so last question about your guys' diet. How do you guys feel since you stopped eating red meat?
I can start. I didn't really notice any change. Like, I think same. You just kind of switch over to eating different proteins. Like, I think a big myth about, you know, why people are like a little bit wary of going vegan or vegetarian is the protein thing, and I think that's a little bit overplayed. Like, there's plenty of other protein sources. Like, you don't have to eat meat or cheese or dairy to get enough protein. Like, you can definitely get as much protein as you need eating a vegan or a vegetarian diet easily. You just have to switch it up a little bit. So, you know, when people switch over, maybe they don't know how to do that right away, so they might feel a little different, but as soon as you figure out, like, oh, I can just eat, you know, tofu or mushrooms or nuts or whatever the substitute is, they feel better. So it wasn't an issue for me ever. Like, it's just a matter of, figuring out how to replace the protein you're getting from the meat and eggs and cheese. And like I said, there's plenty of other ways to get it. And when you go vegan especially, you're eliminating all of that bad cholesterol from your diet, automatically. So you're just, I don't know, adding years onto your life, in my opinion, and probably scientifically based. That's just a fact. You're cutting out animal fat from your diet, which is really not good for people, in large amounts.
It's generally animal fat typically is a saturated fat, right? Automatically, right?
Yeah, I get confused about saturated versus unsaturated or whatever, but that's a bad cholesterol that you're putting into your body. So it's a healthier diet. It's a more environmentally sustainable diet. It takes time to adjust, but there's plenty of resources out there online. And when I conceived of the cafe, Beerline Cafe, one of my goals was to provide very, nutritious, healthy, and delicious options that were vegan and vegetarian, so that people could, if they were curious or wanting to branch out, could try that out. And we want to show people that vegan and vegetarian food, vegan food in particular, is just as good or better than any food that they've had, in their previous diets. So that's really our goal, is to provide that example of this is just as good or better than anything you've ever had.
We both came from we both worked for the same restaurant. That's how we met, is we worked for the same place. It was a vegetarian place. And I think that their food is amazing. It's really good. It just happens to be sort of maybe not in a location that's accessible to a lot of people, and their price points are not very accessible. I can't really speak for recently, because I haven't been there in a while, but part of the goal was to allow vegetarian and vegan food to become accessible to people, because there was so much discussion with the rise of popularity in being vegan. They're like, oh, it's so expensive, you have to cook all your vegetables immediately, or whatever, and then you just end up with a bunch of waste. So part of the goal was to make vegan and vegetarian food accessible to people who don't who live on a budget also, who can't afford to pay $18, $19 for one meal going out to dinner. So that was a big factor.
So how do you feel by switching your diet? How do you feel since you don't eat red meat anymore?
I have to say I very much agree with him. I didn't necessarily feel physically different, because at the time I went vegan, I was also eating, I had modified my diet to basically include just a lot of very lean proteins. And I've never been, I've eaten steak, steak is good, whatever, but I've never been I need to go out for a steak kind of person. So my day-to-day life was mostly just really lean chicken or tuna or something. So I kind of already modified my diet to be relatively plant-based with a lot of lean meats in it. So when I switched over to being vegan, I didn't really see much of a physical difference. but it really did make me feel a lot better about just the decisions that I was making. Because I never really felt good about, buying chicken and stuff like that. I'd go to the store and, I'd buy like the 6-pound bag of like frozen chicken so I could have it throughout the week and stuff. And it just always seemed like just a sad, I don't know, just something that used to be a living thing, just packed up in a frozen package that now I'm gonna just use. I don't know. It just seemed, I just emotionally didn't like doing it. But at the time, I didn't really know what else to do. So that was what I did. So yeah, physically, I didn't see a lot of a difference. But emotionally, I think it took a lot of weight off of, my daily decisions and stuff like that. I felt like I could actually feel good about what I was eating and not really have to weigh the consequences about what I was purchasing.
Yeah, because the reason why I ask is like before I switched my diet, certain foods, I'll be bloated, and like I found out I was lactose. So if I eat like a lot of ice cream, and yeah, it would be real rough for me. So that's why I asked. But so what year you became the head chef for Beerline Cafe?
So, I mean, was it like,
We
it was
opened-
kind of a weird transition. So I guess I can't really say what specific year. I would say that it was 2016. Because we had a chef in place who ended up not really working out. I think he was there for like 6 months. And then when he left, there was like 6 months without any kind of like kitchen directive or whatever. We just had basically kind of what he had left over without any overarching sort of management or whatever. And we're kind of all operating under this kind of haphazard thing that he left us. But at that time, we were starting to pick up in business, so it became necessary for someone to step in, but it wasn't busy enough for us to have the budget to pay for someone, with a bunch of experience and, all that stuff. So I just kind of offered to step in and sort of kind of redefine the systems to make it work for our business level at that moment. So I would say I kind of stepped into the position maybe about a year after we opened, I think, roughly a year.
Okay, so you didn't go to a culinary school, right? So how did you develop your skill and knowledge in the kitchen?
Trial and error.
Yeah, trial and error. Well, as I mentioned previously, like I was vegetarian in high school and we were really poor. So without a lot of options, my mom was basically like, she was like, hey, like you do whatever you want. Like, I don't mind, like whatever, but also I'm not cooking 2 dinners for 2 separate people. So you're going to have to figure out what that means for you. And so that meant that I ate a lot of pickle and cheese sandwiches for a long time in high school, which is probably the reason I kind of fell off the vegetarian wagon, because I didn't really know how to be creative in that aspect. But when I actually became vegan, I got really interested in, I think I just got really interested in the process of like, okay, so here are the things that I really used to like as a non-vegetarian. How can I recreate that? What are the things that I need? Like, what are the main flavor profiles? And I can put that into something else. And I think that really just inspired me to get a little bit more creative and start doing things, for myself.
Okay. So let me ask you a question, Mike. So what made you believe in Clarissa?
Well, so as she mentioned, we met at the previous restaurant that we worked at. I got a job at this restaurant for experience, basically. Like, I had a career in nonprofit before that, and I started from the beginning as a dishwasher at this restaurant, which is a well-known vegetarian restaurant. specifically to get experience to do this.
Yeah.
And Clarissa started as a server at that restaurant, and so that's how we met and became friends. I worked up to a cook in the kitchen and then part of the management team. But as we got closer to opening, I asked Clarissa to come work at Beerline. You know, like, this is really happening. Like, we're starting to build out now. It's actually going to happen. Would you consider coming and working at the cafe? And she said yes. And she started as just a front counter person, like, you know, taking orders and making drinks and stuff, and part-time, very part-time, and still working at the other place. The first thing you contributed to the menu was carrot bacon for the Blatz panini, which we still have on the menu. It's the bacon, lettuce, avocado, tomato.
So I disagreed with the sweetness
Yeah.
of the sandwich.
And she said, hey, what if we added carrot bacon to this sandwich? And I was like, I don't know. In my mind, I was like, sounds crazy, but let's try it. And we tried it, and it was great, and it worked out amazing. And then she just kind of showed more interest in working in the kitchen, and just really, you know, proved herself in the kitchen as a cook, and then had great ideas for improving menu items that we already had, and having new ideas for new menu items, and then it just kind of went from there. She is a very, very talented culinary chef, vegan chef. I think it's natural because, like, you know, you asked before, she's never been to culinary school. Just it's very sort of seat of the pants, vegan. I like this food that's not vegan. I'm gonna try and translate that into a vegan option, vegan version. You know, and that's what she is really amazing at. She just made vegan hot dogs today, just on a whim, and they were great. And that's gonna be probably our next special.
Okay, yeah, I was about to ask you that. Yeah, no, I agree. The food is delicious, very creative, especially the cause you guys do that. What you call that? Special menu, I think it's called. Yeah, specials. Yes, very creative. Yeah. I'm very impressed. So, speaking of the menu, so how do you guys keep developing the new ideas on the menu?
Well, so not everything on the menu is my idea.
Most of it.
I-
The vast majority, I would say.
Like 80%.
More than that.
I don't even know if I would say, I'm not
There
actually sure.
are
I don't think I've contemplated how many things on the menu are like my idea, but
Yeah.
I know that I really like to, okay, this is probably going to be long-winded, but I just get, okay, so number one, I like to make things that I'm craving into a vegan version. So I'm like, oh, if I'm craving this thing, I want to make it. If it's not something that I've already made, and I think like, oh yeah, I want that thing, like I'll figure out how to make it vegan, and then it'll be a special. But I also really like to have the input of my staff and things that they would like to see on the menu, or as a special or something like that. And so sometimes we collab on different things, and we'll, kind of work together on how to make that happen. I usually do, I do like the finishing touches and stuff like that, but sometimes the ideas are inspired by someone who talks about a really great meal they had or something like that. So it really is kind of a very, I don't know, chaotic way of how I go about specials. Sometimes it's a seasonal
Random.
ingredient. Like I get really inspired by one particular ingredient, and I think like, what can I do around this really awesome thing? Yeah. And then I try to make something around that. So it's kind of, I guess it just sort of depends on a number of factors, like what I'm craving, what other people are craving, and what ingredients are
What's
available.
yeah.
Like, I didn't think the idea of doing hot dogs didn't really even come to me until yesterday, and we were just talking about chili cheese dogs and how great they are. And then I was like, well, our next soup is gonna be chili, so why don't we just do chili cheese dogs? And I was like, I'll get on that. Sure, let's do that. Like,
So, 2 questions. The nachos, it was your idea?
I don't know.
That was a
I don't think that was my
collaboration.
idea. Yeah, that was a collab, but that was
Yeah.
before I was actually kitchen manager, I think, or
That
chef
was-
or whatever.
Yeah, that was we've had various cooks that have worked for us have contributed different recipes to the menu, and so the chorizo was somebody's idea that worked there 8 years ago, 9 years ago, and the cheese sauce was somebody else's idea. I
think that was
we've
me.
refined it.
Yeah, the cheese sauce was me. The chorizo was someone else.
Yeah.
The black beans are, I mean, who knows? They're black
Yeah.
beans.
So, what about the mac and cheese? That's like my number 1 favorite.
So the cheese sauce is me, so that's me.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
that's my
Man.
little baby.
Yeah, I gotta get that with every meal. Yeah.
It's very popular.
I don't know what y'all put in it, but I'm addicted to it.
Crack. They put crack in
So
it.
that's one. A little crack, never heard of. That's one of those things that we want to, that's a crossover item that anyone could eat that. And you're vegan, vegetarian, full omnivore can have that mac and cheese and love it, and I think it's vegan, there's no dairy in it at all. But that's one of those items that appeals to everyone. Everyone can. It's a comfort food. It's not necessarily super healthy, but it's not unhealthy. Because it's vegan, there's no bad cholesterol in it.
So you say that, but I feel like I would argue the opposite. That it's not it may not be nutrient dense, but it's still all vegetables, as opposed to a regular
Yeah, it's
as opposed to a regular mac and cheese that's just a lot of cream and fat and stuff. Our cheese is vegetables, it's potatoes and carrots and onion
soy
and
milk.
garlic and
waters,
just a
yeah.
arguably healthier than regular mac and cheese.
Oh,
anyway,
yeah,
just-
absolutely. That's what I meant to say. It's healthier it's way healthier than dairy mac and cheese, because it's plant based. But it's one of those items that everyone can relate to. It's just like a basic American food that everyone loves. And I think meat eaters that order that don't even know that it's vegan love it, and they still don't know it's vegan that, and that's absolutely what we're trying to do. Show people that you can have things that you don't even know that are vegan that you love, and you'd come back for it again, and it's so much better for you and for the planet.
Yeah. Children who families will bring their kids in who basically are just they only eat mac and cheese, and they get the mac and cheese and they love it. They can't tell the difference.
Yeah, my mom's love it. And she's not vegan or vegetarian, but she loves it. Yeah. So now you being a chef and you being the business owner, how do you guys find time to take care of your mental health?
That's a great question.
It's a struggle sometimes, honestly. Especially when we have, staff leaving, and we're the management. So when people leave, either with notice or without notice, which happens from time to time, we have to pick up the slack, which is happening right now. We've had some turnover, so there's no choice. We just have to work those shifts and keep the restaurant going. and then we obviously hire and retrain people to take over those spots. But the main way to keep sane is to have time away, I think. Like, and I didn't subscribe to that for many years after we opened, but I am now, and I can see the difference. Like, I get time away now, and it's night and day. You know, like, I don't feel like I'm gonna burn out or go crazy because I have a day off every week, and so that's the way to do it, is to train people that we trust to be there when we're not there, and so that we don't have to be there all the time. So that's what I would say. Do you have any?
Yeah, I mean, mine's basically the same. I get a little bit more time off than he does, as not the owner. So most of the time I get more time off than he does, but I would say my mental health really, I try to sort of reset on my days off by just literally just being like alone time, just being alone and not having to make decisions about, other people's, what other people should do, or, even sometimes what I should do. Sometimes I'm like, yeah, no, I'm just gonna sit here as long as I possibly can, and I'm gonna play Tetris on my phone because that's what I want to do.
No, that's definitely so. Because sometimes, a lot of people don't make time for their mental health, so they too busy to. I'm stuttering. Basically, people don't make time for their mental health, so that's why I asked. So it's good to hear that you guys do take time to do that self love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was not an immediately obvious, but we learned that over time, and it's key to have trust in each other, because when I'm not there, I totally trust Clarissa to be running the place, and when she's not there, I'm running the place and managing the kitchen, and so that's essential to be able to be not there and not be stressed out and worried about what's happening. If you trust the other person that's there running the place when you're not there, that's key.
So it sounds like you guys are just business partners.
Well, yeah, not technically, but yeah.
Yeah.
Like we're not like, yeah.
Like I don't have any sort of like ownership as far as the cafe goes. I didn't help, build it up specifically, or do any of like the build out or whatever. So that's all him. But
No, that's a wrong word. Meaning, as like what it sounds like based off the conversation, you guys is a duo. I should say like a team. One person lean on each other. Like a village, but small village. But so the question that I'm asking to what I just mentioned about you guys being a team, what is like the most rewarding of you guys being a team and working on Beerline Cafe together? I hope that question makes sense.
that is a hard question. The
I,
most.
well, I can start. I think the most rewarding thing is just starting from zero and building up to where we are now. Like, to see the customer base that we've built up over the years, that's everything to me. Like, that's crazy, like amazing, like we have people that come in multiple times a week, like yourself, and other regulars that come in once a week, every week, once a month, every month. But there's all these, like, this huge fan base of people out there that obviously like what they're getting when they come in, and they come back regularly to get that, and that is everything to me. Like, that's what I'm doing this for. Like, I love that. I love that people love what we're doing, and love our food, love the atmosphere,
Yeah.
you know. So that's what keeps me going.
Nice. Yeah, because what I like about Beerline Cafe is very fancy. In a good way. I don't know, like it's like a luxury fancy restaurant, but it's affordable. Makes sense. Yeah. So yeah.
That's also what we're going for. Like
Yeah.
we want, like, we don't want to be like a fast food restaurant, you know, with that kind of atmosphere. And we don't want to have prices like a Bartolotta restaurant or something. Like we want to have affordable prices, a nice, relaxing atmosphere with the plants and
Yeah.
music and everything for people to come into, and you know, not have to break the bank.
Yeah. Because that's one train of thought. You had said something. It was something I want to mention. Damn it. Yeah. It'll come back to me.
Do you have anything to add? Like, what was the original question that was,
Oh, like what's some? Oh no, what's the most rewarding of like you guys working together, basically?
I would say that's a two-parter. Because for me, obviously, I think it goes without saying that like if I put something on the menu and people like it, that always just like makes me feel so good when people are just like, oh my God, this is like so good. I love it so much. You know, I have sort of always felt like I had like a niche flavor profile that I was like, maybe I like things that other people don't like or something like that. But for people to like actually say that they love the food that I put out, and like I've been requested on several different times to like put out a cookbook or whatever, that makes me feel super proud and kind of validates I feel like it validates my position because I don't have an official title as, you know, a chef. I didn't go to school for it. I didn't do this, but people are really enjoying what I'm putting out. So that sort of validates that voice inside my head that says, you're dumb, you can't do this. But it negates that voice in my head. So that feels good. But another part of that on the completely opposite spectrum is honestly the personal relationships I've made with, you know, the people that I work with, because I work with the staff. I don't, you know, I work alongside them. I'm not just like a person who creates menu items and then tells people how to do them. You know, I work with them and I love working with them. And I really love the staff that we have. Like, that's a super bonus for me. It doesn't always, you know, it doesn't last forever. Obviously, people have things to do with their life and stuff, but that's a big bonus for me. I really like that.
So the two last questions I have. Are you guys like? Do you guys ever thought about adding stuff to the menu? Cause like the special you guys have correct me if I'm wrong. The chickpea salad sandwich.
chicken salad that we have right now? Yeah.
That is
You like that?
funny question that you asked that right at this moment.
Yeah.
Because we are right in the middle of a menu transition,
Okay.
where we are currently we're in the works of taking a few things off the menu and adding some things to the menu, and kind of changing things around a little bit.
Okay.
The curry chicken salad that you enjoyed is not making the permanent menu, but there will be a similar kind of version of it. That can I?
Reveal.
Okay, so
Exclusive.
the base. Okay, so the base, the texture base of it is the same. It's a tuna salad basically, like a mock tuna salad. We've done it before in the past, and it has this like crazy following that just people just love it. So it's basically a tuna melt, but a vegan version of it. So it's a chickpea, you know, base with, you know, a bunch of savory seasonings. It's served open face with cheese and sprouts and stuff like that. Like, and it's baked. So basically a wildly different version of kind of the same thing that you've had. But the roots are the same. basically. So we're kind of, yeah, we're changing over a few things, and we don't necessarily have a deadline in place, except for what we decided our deadline would be was when our granola ran out. So, because we didn't want to make granola again.
Because we're taking that off.
Yeah, so we're like, oh, once the granola's
Yeah.
out, that's done.
Yeah.
We have to come out with a menu. So we are, yeah. We used to do seasonal changes to the menu pre-pandemic, where we would do the same thing and take off some things and put some new things on. I think we have stuck with our core base for so long because during and post-pandemic, people got really, there was a lot of anxiety about, going to your restaurant and your things weren't on the menu and things were changing all the time. So we just decided to kind of keep things the same for a while. And now I feel like it's time to kind of revamp, things. And we have such a back catalog of specials and stuff that are permanent menu worthy that we would really like to see, be options on the menu. So we're in the transition of doing that now.
Okay, I see. So quick question for you being an entrepreneur. What's your advice for anyone who wants to step into that field?
Well, just general.
In general,
entrepreneurship.
Yeah, whatever it is. Because I'm taking mental notes.
Yeah. It's scary. It's you got to believe in what you're doing. Like, really believe in what you're doing. Make sure that you know what you're doing. Like, I spent literally 2 years writing a business plan for my cafe, for my restaurant. You don't just jump into something you think you want to do and put a lot of money into it without the planning. Like, the business planning process it might seem tedious and unnecessary, but it's actually essential. Like, to plan your success. Or not. Like, you can find out during that process of writing a business plan that your idea is just not going to work through the research you do, or you're just not going to get funding for it or whatever. So I'd say it's hard and it's tedious, but do that. Like, take business classes. I did that. I took some business classes because I was in nonprofit before this, which was totally different, so learn the things you're going to need to learn and write that business plan, and that will be your guide to success, literally. Like, just do that, because you could jump in without a business plan and it could work, randomly out of the blue, but like, odds are you're not going to be successful unless you really go through that process of writing that business plan and thinking about every pitfall, every possibility, everything that could happen, what your market is, do the market research. Where you're going to be located is very, very important. What your target market is, like, all that stuff. Like, it's not fun to do. It's not at all fun unless you like writing business plans. But like, I didn't enjoy it, but I learned a lot doing it, and I do believe that it helped me become ready to actually take the leap and do it. Because if we would have went out of business that first year, I would have lost everything. Like, I would have been bankrupt, like, literally for my whole life savings. Not everyone is going to put that much capital into what they're doing, but whatever you're doing, just don't just think you can do it because you have a passion for it. Plan it out. Like, take the time to write that plan and just
I think
work it out.
a big thing is like if you can't take the time to plan out what it is that you think you really want to do, it's probably not the thing that you want to do. Like if you don't want to spend the time to plan it, that's probably not your calling.
I see. So this is my last question. Me having a monthly subscription to your guys' restaurant. I really love you guys' food. What I like about it is fresh. It's like you said, it's not fast food. So the question that I have is, and I want to comment on this too as well. For anyone who's a first timer come to Beerline Cafe, what's the food you would recommend someone to try?
Oh my God. I mean, I think the nachos are just obviously on the top of anyone's list. Nacho, like, I feel like vegan nachos are, I don't know, they're not, I can think of 3 places that serve vegan nachos, which includes us as one of the places. And it's just such a regular food that people want to eat, that it's, if you're wanting to try plant-based, definitely the nachos.
Yeah, but I would say our nachos would stand up to any nacho. Like meat-based, dairy-based, like it's as good or better than.
I've known several people who like our nachos better than any other meat-based nachos. So I would say that's kind of a given. They're one of our best sellers. As far as like, I think it depends on what you're looking for. Basically our staff favorite is the Ethiopian lentil wrap. That's a favorite amongst like all the staff.
Me included.
Yeah, like it's his favorite, my favorite, so many other people's favorite. The hash brown Benedict. You gotta have it, man. It's so good.
Okay.
It's so good.
Because sometimes for me, like when I try something I really like it, I eat it like every day.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's the same. Same.
Yes.
It's like I used to eat the lentil wrap literally every single day, until I was like, I can't, I will never stop eating this. But like the Benedict also, like sometimes every once in a while, we'll get like someone who messed up on it, and it's like it was supposed to have eggs and they put tofu on it, so then we had to remake another one. And so now we just have this like vegan Benedict that like is sort of just out there in the ether for anyone to eat. And I'm just like, every time I have a bite of it, it's so good.
So what is that? What's in that?
So it's we roast asparagus and hash browns. So instead of like a normal Benedict is like, what is that? English muffin. So instead of an English muffin, because we wanted to be gluten-free, we decided to put it on a bed of hash browns. So it's asparagus with a bed of hash browns, our tofu ham. So we like marinate and boil tofu to make it sort of taste like ham. And then that is covered with our tofu scramble, or if you want to have it vegetarian, you can get over easy eggs. And then our hollandaise sauce is vegan. Like everything about it is vegan. You just have to just decide whether or not you want eggs or tofu. But oh my God, the flavors! It's just like you take one bite and it sort of like hits you right in the heart, and you're like, I feel like I just had like an EpiPen in my heart. It's so good.
Yeah.
So good.
Okay, yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out. But for me, my opinion, I would say the mushroom burger. Yeah,
that's definitely a bestseller.
Yeah, if you add the jalapenos to it.
Yeah, that'll never go off the menu.
Jalapenos on everything, but yeah. The mushroom burger is never going anywhere.
Yeah, no, that's really good because So just for me, certain vegan foods I am afraid to try because I might not like it. So that's why when I was ordering, I used to order the same things. I used to be afraid to try something new. So what made me like the burger, my mom had it because I, brought her to the restaurant for the first time. And when I had the burger, I'm like, wow, this is really good. And when I ate it again and again, and it was still tastes the same. So yeah. So yeah, that's why I recommend the burger.
Question for you, what made you come into Beerline Cafe for the first time and just be like, I'm gonna try this vegan
Um,
food? Like,
Well, Michelle, she pretty much told me about it, and yeah, and yeah, I never heard of it, so I went with her, and then and shit, I don't know, I've been hooked on this.
Why did you decide to go vegan?
um, I was watching What the Health, and I was watching this documentary on Netflix called Game Changer. Um, and plus two certain foods I used to eat, I used to feel sick and bloated, and bad health runs in my family. So I'm like, I need to change. And then I got tired of eating red meat because like I seen a video of some meat. I don't know what's the name of the video, but the meat was just moving. And every time I ate meat, I think of that. Or when I eat, or if I eat some eggs, I think of a video that I saw on Instagram. They turned a yolk into a bird, a baby bird. I don't know how they did it, but just little stuff reminds me. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So when I seen that, it just replays in my mind certain foods, and I was just like, nah, because I used to love eating, Subway steak subs. I used to eat that every day, and every time I eat it, I was just thinking about that video, and yeah, yeah. But I'm glad that I switched because for me, I'm able to maintain my weight, and yeah, and plus too, I want to, if I'm blessed enough to live a long life, I'm able to move around, stuff like that. And like I said, back to that documentary with the health, that really kind of changed my perspective on foods and stuff like that. How they mentioned how like fast food restaurants are partnerships with like diabetes companies, and like the fast food are contributing to the people. I can't even talk. The fast food are contributing to people with diabetes and stuff like that. So it's just like a money grab. I will talk your ears off about conspiracy and stuff like that. I'm not.
Oh no, I just found out that like public school lunches are funded by the Department of Defense, which is insane. And I don't know enough details about it to expand on that, but I watched an interview about it, and it's actually, yep, seems to be actually true, which is a little terrifying.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And plus, too, certain foods I ate, I used to feel sick. Yeah, it was real bad. So I'm glad that I switched. I can't see myself going back. I do miss eating on dairy foods, but nah. And then back to the comments you just said about school lunches. Yeah, yeah.
I think the availability, it definitely leaves something to be desired, but I definitely think that there are adequate alternatives to any kind of meat or dairy, thing out there. As a person who basically just lived on cheese alone, I mean, you can say I used to love cheese, or now I just love vegan cheese. I love it just the same. I just consume just as much of it.
Yeah, yeah. Because the only thing I don't like about being vegan, well, I don't like consider myself vegan, but the only thing I don't like eating about vegan foods is the cheese. Certain cheese I don't like. I don't like the texture.
Yeah.
I think they've come a long way with the texture. The texture for me is the big thing, and they've come a long way, like in the last even just couple of years, and I think they'll, get even closer to the dairy cheese or whatever. But yeah, that's a big thing for a lot of people, like especially in Wisconsin and then the north, Midwest. Like cheese is everything for a lot of people, and so going vegan is just not an option for people like that love cheese. So that's a huge hurdle to get.
Yeah. I think the way that I I don't want to say get past it, because I don't really think that I actually had to get past it. I sort of always just had this mindset that like vegan cheese wasn't going to be exactly the same as dairy cheese. I just tell people that like you just think about it as a different kind of cheese. You know, like there's so many different kinds of dairy cheeses. Just think about vegan cheese as a different kind of cheese. You don't have to think about it as a 100% substitute, but just something that you like. You know, is it salty? Is it stretchy? Is it gooey? Like, is it the things that you like? Like, think about the things that you like about cheese and then find something that is an alternative to that, which is what I do. Like, I actually think that I actually like more things now in the vegan form than I did when I was not vegan. And like cheeses include like I'm not gonna lie, I have not had vegan blue cheese. I don't think. If
That's good.
I don't know, but I hate blue cheese. I really hate it. I hate it so much.
Well,
The
you
real
didn't
blue
like
cheese, I
dairy
hate it.
blue cheese, so you're not gonna like vegan.
Yeah, but if the vegan blue cheese is less foot tasty, then I might like it.
Foot taste.
Just, I don't know, it's so bad. I hate blue cheese.
The follow your
You know what I mean?
crumbled blue cheese.
Oh yeah,
That's
yeah, I've
really
not
good.
had that.
That's really good.
But I loved feta, and I used to make like Greek salads all the time. And I like the vegan feta just as much, you know? So, I mean, it just depends, you know? I think you just have to kind of go into it with an open mind instead of thinking like, this is going to be an exact replica of what I like. You have to think about what you like and what the thing is offering. Like, it may not be an exact replica, but it could offer you, you know, the same values.
Yeah, nah, I agree. Cause the vegan, I don't say vegan, but yeah, like vegan snacks made an improvement. Cause sometimes like certain vegan cookies I would eat, it'd be too dry.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, I think the cookies you guys have, I don't know the person who creates it.
East Side Ovens.
Okay.
And the Bunny's Bite.
Okay.
Bunny's Bite. Oh, that's where it's
Nah,
at.
I'm very impressed because I used to like eating that Reese's cup chocolate. I think that's the name of it.
And they're gluten-free, which is insane because they're
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah.
They're so good.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with
It's
the
just as
snack.
good as a dairy.
Yeah.
If you do it right, like it's just there's no downside
Definitely.
to the vegan bakery if you do it right.
I agree. Well, that's all the questions I have. If anyone that visit Milwaukee or in Milwaukee, please check out Beerline Cafe. You won't be disappointed. And congratulations on your anniversary.
Thank you.
Yeah. And yeah, you guys probably see me Wednesday.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, Katie. Thanks for having me.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you for coming.